What's up with the world? It's your boy CBJ. You are tuned into the Champs Podcast. I am your host, and here's my co-host.
Coach Rudy, and we are wanting to wish you all a very happy Turkey Day, Thanksgiving week. Hope you're getting time to spend with your loved ones. We let Kyle Matthews go home to, where is he from, Pennsylvania or something like that. We let him go up there to spend time with his family, and that way he don't jack up our programming and delete shit, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, again, from us, we do want to wish you a happy Turkey Day. However you choose to spend it, if you don't want to acknowledge it for whatever reason, or if you just want to say, you know what, I'm just spending time eating a lot of food, hanging out with friends and family, good for you.
Look, on a somber note, I know I didn't bring it up in our pre-show one. I want to send thoughts and condolences to those who recently lost their lives. I woke up this morning to see that in a Walmart in Virginia, apparently the manager went in and shot up the employee meeting room.
Wow.
Killed 6 people there. This morning when I saw it was 5, and then when I came home after running some errands, saw that it was 6. So somebody else had passed away. That comes on the heels of somebody going into a nightclub and killing a bunch of people a few days ago. And look, I know this stuff is happening around the country every night, and we don't always hear all the stories.
Right.
But, the stressors that everyone gets under, mixed in with hatred, mixed in with not caring for human life, I think a lot of times it's just we don't have the the care and support that people need to get through these depression times. And
right.
This being the holidays, unfortunately, I know a lot of people, that's when they try to commit suicide and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not trying to bring a somber note, but I said I want to send out my prayers and condolences to those families.
Definitely condolences to all those people. And since you did bring up holiday depressions, if you are going through hard times with your mental health because it is holidays, stressful season for whatever reason, you're depressed because people aren't here, whatever, I encourage you to try and get some help. If the authorities don't want to help you, please reach out to a friend or family member until you find someone that's willing to listen. Like, I know, you'll feel like, oh, I tried this person, they didn't have time, and then that's usually what happens. They'll commit suicide because they feel like, well, I reached out, no one was there. I called the number, they didn't take me serious, whatever. So, please get your help. We understand that it's a difficult time. There's a lot of stressors with work and bills and life. But I will tell you, if you can get past it, and you can finally get past it, you can realize that a moment of hardship could be a lifetime of better times that you would be more appreciative for. So don't let a hard time be the moment, be
the end of your story.
Yeah. So, but let's move on to some sports and be a little bit more happy than that somber note. Thanks a lot, cousin Rudy.
I am the one that messes things up. So, some breaking news that happened about 45 minutes ago. The New York Jets, according to Ian Rappaport, have benched Zach Wilson for former Dallas Cowboy Mike White. If you don't know who those players are because their names sound very white, it's because they're very white people. Zach Wilson was the starting quarterback for the New York Football Jets, who was actually the topic of some controversy because what was his name? Booger McFarland from ESPN made a comment about Zach Wilson not knowing how to lead because he grew up rich, essentially. I think Zach Wilson's family, somebody in his family, his uncle, is pretty high up there in one of the airplane companies, CEO or something like that. So Booger made a comment about that, to which former San Francisco 49er Steve Young tried to check him and say, hey, I know this kid. You can't judge him because he grew up rich.
Right.
And Booger was like, well, yes, I can. And so it happened live on there. It was funny. But anyways, so Zach Wilson got benched. Part of the reason for that, last week against the Patriots in his second time seeing them in about 3 weeks, he went 9 of 22 for 77 yards.
Yeah.
And they only scored 3 points. And
it's a good throw, man. I don't know what the hardship is. Like, it's only, I don't know, 120 yards less than the average quarterback throws in a game. I mean,
so it was not just that those were his stats. It's that after the game, he was asked if he felt that he contributed to the loss.
You said contributed. I thought if he was the fact, like if he like how he felt about it, was he the reason they lost? If he was contributing factor, sure. If it's was I the reason that we lost, no.
Look, I think that better leadership says yes. Whether it's true or not.
Hey, for all I know, he
take it.
Listen, he might have went to the school of Coach Rudy where he heard just deny, and that's all he was trying to do. He was just trying to say no, and he was just trying to deny it.
Look, in different areas, I do say that. But when it comes to play on the field,
take accountability.
That's where I always take accountability. Whether we're talking about the basketball court, whether we're talking about football field. Oh no, there's plenty of times where I was out there playing, and I say that one's on me. In my head, thinking, "F you, so and so. That was all your fault. You should have done it." Like I was out there dying. I did all this stuff, but the reason I would go out there and say, don't worry about that. That one's on me. Let's run it back. Let's do it again. Is because I needed to get your head straight so that way you can not wallow in how poorly you've played.
You know what's funny is it takes a lot to have that awareness of people. Like there's some people that they, I was never this person, but you get hyped up when someone's in your face yelling at you and that gets you all worked up. I was never that player. A lot of the coaches, if there was a thing that my coaches would say they hated about me, was I never got worked up in that. Like, my adrenaline rush came when it was game time. But whenever you're in practice, they was like, I want you to hit somebody. I want you to, do this, I don't know, whatever they would say to try and get you hyped up in the moment. Like, I was never that person because it's like, it doesn't make sense for me to, like, you yelling at me doesn't, like, what would get me in the game is if I was playing and if somebody actually pushed me or actually got the better of me, like, oh, fuck you, I'm going to get up and now I have to prove my point that you're not better than me. That was my competitive nature. But there are some players that, like, their composure, they don't have that composure to be able to, oh man, you're throwing the ball wrong. You're not getting off fast enough. Like, because I would get mad being a lineman on the offense, and when my running back would be like, you guys ain't blocking nobody. Bitch, there was nowhere to go. Like, we were trying. They're bigger than us, whatever. But he didn't say shit when we were doing it, When we did open up the gap, you ran the wrong fucking hole. That's not on me that you fucking ran behind the guy that was. But each player is different. Like, you have to have I recently seen something where they were talking about LeBron, how he has a mental awareness that a lot of his coaches don't. He takes his coaches up to another level that he's able to read things. So there's just certain things that you have to learn how to work with your teammates sometimes. So sometimes taking the accountability so that way they don't think it was all on them.
Yeah, and I think his receivers don't want to put it on him either. Yeah. Like when they get interviewed, that they might say something generic, and that's what they kind of did. But they understood that, look, if I piss you off, you're going to throw it to me anyways.
Right.
There's part of that. Michael Irvin, Dallas Cowboy receiver, used to say,
what? He played for the
Cowboys? There
Cowboys?
was never a bad pass thrown by Troy Aikman. He said, I will never tell Troy that he threw the ball back. He said, because I need him to throw it to me. They're like, so if there was ever any miscommunication, that was on me. That was my fault.
Yeah.
I wasn't where I was supposed to be. Troy was never wrong.
Right.
And he didn't say that because Troy was too sensitive.
Yeah.
He said that from his perspective because he needed that bond with the quarterback to be successful.
Right.
And he needs the quarterback's head to be right.
Right.
For him to get where he needs to go. Now, you factor in the fact that Troy Aikman was fucking cold.
That he was fucking Troy Aikman?
Yeah. you put that there, and you know what, Michael, it might have been you're wrong. You know, it's and I'll say that in this sense. Playing receiver, especially when you're a physical receiver and someone's trying to jam you at the line, and you have to break through them, which that was Michael's style. And a lot of times back then, there was a lot of one-on-one jamming at the line versus now where they give you cushion. When that happened, it's easy to get thrown off of your route by a foot. And so when Michael says that, reality is he probably was in the wrong spot because of the nature of how he played it.
Right.
But receivers knowing that and Zach Wilson now being in this position. This is only Zach Wilson's second year.
Yeah.
He was a high draft pick.
Definitely.
Would you, if you were running that franchise, would you have pulled the trigger?
No, I mean, I'm more of a level-headed person. Like, I have to see the whole picture for me to, like, I wouldn't, unless I thought it was a blatant, like, this was you. Because even this, like, I would look at it like, I would start with my line. Is he not able to get off? Like, is he getting sacked a lot? Like, is there a lot of this going on?
They're 6-4 right now.
Yeah.
A couple of those wins came without him because they had Joe Flacco in there.
Right, right.
They're 6-4. They're in the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
You got a second-year quarterback who just threw for 77 yards.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to want to.
Well, let me put this out there.
The blame.
So they're saying that Zach isn't. You know what? We're gonna sit him. He's not our starter, right? But let it be a Cowboy, Cooper Rush. They would say, "Man, did you see how he did? He didn't throw no interceptions." But no, that's a different argument for a different day. You know, because they're in the playoff hunt. It's still hard for me to sit him because he's contributed to them being in this. A bad game happens.
If his teammates have turned on him.
That's a different story.
I'm throwing that out to you.
If his teammates have turned on him, then yeah, you don't have. This isn't the movies where the quarterback can throw it and whatever.
Okay, let's go to the movies. Any Given Sunday.
Okay.
You remember? The teammates turned on the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so what did the team do?
They let him get fucked up.
Yeah. And then the team went back to the old quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that was in the movies.
Yeah. I was thinking of The Longest Yard whenever he was getting his ass kicked.
Same
but
thing happened there. Yeah. Team switched quarterbacks because he was...
Yeah.
So that's the movies.
Yeah.
So you said this isn't the movies. So because this isn't the movies, you tell me that you keep him in?
No, I'm saying this isn't the movies where the quarterback can still keep the game going and earn their respect back and start doing it. Like if your team quits blocking for you, your team isn't willing to run the ball for you, you can't just say like, well, I'm going to outrun everybody and run 100 yards and, oh, now we're winning because I that's what happened in The Longest Yard. Adam Sandler's version. I don't remember the other version. So,
same thing.
But nonetheless, so that being said, if his team is turned on him, then yeah. The only thing about that though, like Aaron Rodgers has been talking about his team this whole time. One would say that maybe they're not.
Okay, so what about this? Jets jacked a quarterback from Green Bay before.
Yeah.
End of the year. You trade. You're the Jets. You say, send me that man. We'll give you Zach Wilson and another first-round pick. So if you don't want Wilson, you can get somebody else.
Yeah.
Does that not handle it for both those teams?
I don't know if it handles for both teams, but it definitely handles it for one of the quarterbacks.
Well, it at least gives the quarterbacks a fresh new start, new perspective, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they might not be happy about where they're going, but for those teams, it addresses the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing about it, like,
because look, Mike White isn't going to be your future.
No. One thing that people know. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but people that know me know I don't typically like really young players in general. The young players being like your rookie year, even often
confusing Jay with the petty.
even the sophomore year quarterbacks or players, because I just feel like there's just a lot to be learned in those few years.
To what you're saying, I'm with you in the idea that I usually am of the mindset, look, that's why you fail, because you don't give your quarterback the 4 or 5 years that they need to develop.
Yeah.
Like, I really believe that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem. If your franchise is already sold on the idea that, all right, you suck.
Yeah.
If they're like, yeah, we haven't seen enough from you, we haven't seen enough flashes, and the truth is, there haven't been a lot of flashes from this guy. I actually think, all right, you remember a quarterback from where did he play? Well, I know he played in Texas A&M. Then he started off in Miami. Now he's a quarterback of Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
When Ryan Tannehill was drafted, what they were saying about him was the potential for this guy is very, very high.
Yeah.
But the reality is he's not going to be even able to sniff that till about 4 seasons in.
Yeah.
So do you have it with you to withstand that?
Yeah.
And so when you looked at him, yeah, he's one of those guys. I think Zach Wilson could be of that same ilk.
Yeah.
That given the opportunity, you could build him into a quality quarterback, just like Tennessee has with Tannehill now.
Yeah.
He's a quality quarterback. Like, he's a top 15
yeah,
quarterback.
I mean, there's something.
And that's good.
Yeah, there's something to that, because I remember Tannehill coming to Miami, and I remember they were expecting him to just change everything over.
They were wanting him to.
They expected him to. They didn't see it.
They wanted him to.
and then when I heard he was going to Tennessee, which kind of shocked me, because I thought Mariota was doing all right there.
You want to know the funny part? They were both about the same at that point. The thing was, Tennessee was ready to see somebody else try it.
Yeah. And
that's why Tannehill was able to be successful there.
Yeah, I mean,
because that changed the scenery.
Yeah, definitely. New atmosphere, new everything. It just a new life, so to speak. But you're right in that sense. Like, there's some people that just take a little bit longer to kind of get the game. It's a change of the game. Like, there's the difference between playing college and playing in the pros.
Oh, night and day.
So I don't think that this is the end
for Zach.
Look,
if he was black, it'd be the end for him.
Probably.
He's white.
Yeah.
His uncle's loaded. I realistically think he's gonna have another chance.
Yeah.
You draft somebody that high.
Yeah.
Teams are gonna say, "I'll fix it." Yeah, he's a spoiled brat, but I'll fix it. Especially if it's not expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and with him still having a few years left, someone's gonna say, "Okay, I'll give you a third. I'll give you a fourth." Whatever. Right. And yeah, Zach Wilson's career's not done, but his time in New York might be. All right, now let's go ahead and really quickly touch on a future NFL player, because you said that college is way different than the pros. And it's true.
Yeah.
But one of my former players, Xavier Gibson, played for Stephen F. Austin. Just won the WAC championship against Abilene Christian University.
Yep.
So they just won that title in that last game that they had this past weekend. Gibson had 11 catches,
Yeah.
213 receiving yards,
Okay.
and a touchdown.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, there was a couple of his receptions that whenever he was going for the end zone,
Yeah.
it kind of seemed like the refs cheated him out.
Yeah.
Like, at very least of 5 more yards, if not the touchdown.
Right.
But it was what it was. I was there watching it. Saw the second half with Gibson's father and brother, who may be going to SFA next season. Now, Xavier is apparently in line to go to one of 3 teams. Chicago, the 49ers, and the Cowboys are all looking at him.
Okay.
He's a speedster, man. Speed
Yeah.
kills. The one pass that he didn't catch that was thrown to him in this game
Yeah.
should have been a pass interference. The guy was draped over his shoulders.
Yeah.
No PI was called. That's fine. Even still, 11 catches, 213 yards. Second time this year he went over 200 yards.
Yeah.
Third time in the last 2 years that he's gone over 200 yards. He's the real deal.
Congratulations to him for having a great season, for doing what he did, and wherever he decides to go from here, you know, it's his choice to how he wants to play this out.
Yeah, he's probably going to win the Walter Payton Award that they give out every year again.
Yeah.
For the best offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
He's an outstanding athlete.
I'm always anxious to see people that I have, you know, a degree of separation of knowing them. And I tend to root for them big time because, again, it's often like, oh, it's a hometown whatever type of situation, or I know somebody that's their cousin, their brother, whatever the case is. So being that I've been in close enough to know a few athletes from just a degree or two of separation, I will be looking forward to seeing him go to the NFL if that's where he ends up, and what team he goes to. And hopefully he goes on and has a very flourishing career.
So, you know, I coached him when he was young and coached his brothers subsequent years.
So
he's
everybody give Coach Rudy a hand for having players that are at least in prospect, whether or not they make it. I mean, how many coaches can you say that you know that have actually made it there? So everyone give him a round of applause. I'm not going to do it because, you know, fuck Coach Rudy. But you guys listening, please give him a round of applause for at least having that.
So Xavier's he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it just because he's one of my favorite players that I ever coached.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, the only thing the only difference I've made in that young man's football career is probably helping him to eliminate the fumble problem he had.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
everything
this kid has is because of his own personal work ethic.
Yeah.
And how much he doesn't need the team as far as to hold a practice for him to practice.
You know what?
He's
If you're
out
still
there
in contact
grinding.
with him, we'll get him on the podcast one day.
I will.
Yeah.
You know, he hit me up after the game, asking me how come I didn't tell him beforehand that I was going out there to watch.
Yeah.
I was like, hey man, I knew you had big things to concentrate on. I didn't need to put that on you.
Yeah.
Just proud of what you did. So that was really cool of him to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, so good luck to him. We'll see what happens, how smart people are as far as drafting. But I really am looking forward to seeing him next year on Sundays.
Well, I will hope he gets a good draft spot. I'll say that much.
Whoever gets him, I mean, they're going to be fortunate team.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be an under the radar guy.
Yeah.
Because SFA is not one of the power schools.
Yeah. That other sports podcast that we talk about sometimes.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of those clips, and I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about Tavon Austin. They were saying like whenever he got drafted, he was like in the wrestling around with all the other players, and they're like he's a little guy, and he's like I was sitting there watching him. And he's giving all these bigger guys like the business. Like, fuck that shit. I'm gonna wrestle with them too. So he was wrestling with him. He was like, man, he was doing all that like wrestling shit where he's flipping around and jumping over, like, and he's like, actually, he was like, man, that little guy's fucking stronger than you think he is. Them fucking wrestlers are different than other athletes, and I just thought that was a funny little clip to think about. Like, you see the smaller guy come into the locker room and he's like wrestling around with people because he's a former wrestler, and they're just like getting mad because he's just like, man, this is some bullshit.
Yeah, that's actually what took the UFC by storm. The fact that you had people who were grappling, and people weren't used to that. They're like, wait a minute, there's a fight. Why are we on the ground?
Yeah,
we used to like to avoid the ground.
Yeah, think about it. Today's thing about UFC is very much groundwork as opposed to like early on. There was still a lot of kicks and a lot of punches that were thrown, and that was. To me, that was always the freeing idea of boxing. It was like, oh, you can use your legs in this? Like, they had kickboxing, but kickboxing still wasn't necessarily the same because, like, kickboxing required you to throw so many kicks for it to still be considered a kickboxing match. So, like, in my head, I'd have to be counting, like, did I throw 7 kicks like I was supposed to? Like, that would annoy me that I have to count, like, okay, I have to make sure I throw so many kicks, otherwise they're going to disqualify me or deduct points from me.
Yeah, that would be some BS.
So, but all that being said, like, man, it'll be great to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. So, now that we talked about some interesting things, some good things, now let's talk about some turkeys, true turkeys, and one of the biggest turkeys that we know of, and I'm not saying turkey in the good sense, because I love turkey on Thanksgiving. I'm talking about turkey in the bad sense of being stupid. So let's get to our stupid takes, and one Mr. Skip Bayless.
Skip Bayless. You talking about the Cowboys fan? Skip Bayless?
Yeah, the stupid one. I know there's a lot of them, but not all of them have the name Skip Bayless.
All right. What do you want to talk about? How he's still hung up on Cooper Rush?
Yes.
Yes. For those of you that don't know, that only listen to us, because we know that you only get your sports news from us.
And it's not a bad place to get it from.
Yeah. Skip Bayless on his TV show, Undisputed, him and Shannon Sharp, they were going back and forth, talking about how Cowboys played against...
If you heard that sound, I just scored. I threw a bottle in the trash can.
How they played against, what was it, Green Bay?
I don't know, but I'm still thinking about how I was close enough to dunk that bottle. I still threw it.
We're talking football here, Coach. We're not talking about basketball.
No, you're talking football. I'm talking about how I just threw that in there, and I'm glad I made it. You shut up. Leave me alone.
All right. All right. Anyway, so Skip Bayless is still going. Oh, it was Minnesota. That's who it was. Going on and on about how Dak got a fire lit under his ass, so that way he could prove that he's supposed to be the starting quarterback because Cooper Rush went here last year and he beat this team and this, that, and the other. And I just want to say he's stupid.
Massively stupid. Look, you can't sit there and tell me that Dak Prescott only succeeded to prove Cooper Rush wrong and to prove that what Cooper Rush did in Minnesota last year when he had to come back to beat pretty much the same team, Savvy a different coach or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know, despite that, you can't sit here and tell me with, I don't know, any shred of sanity or any shred of intelligence.
Yeah.
that is the reason that the Cowboys were able to win by 37 because Dak was needing to prove that he was at least as good as Cooper Rush.
You know, the other thing is that I just realized Skip is also the same one that beats his chest about how Pollard needs to be the starting.
Dude, I so thought you were going to go somewhere else. Like, how do you know that? That's disgusting.
How Pollard needs to be the starting running back and all this and that. And I just think he likes to piss people off by saying the things that people. I think he likes to piss off people that know the sport.
Troy Hambrick. You've heard me say that name before.
Yes.
Skip is also one of the guys who was advocating for Troy Hambrick back in the day.
So then he's just wrong.
Oh, you can't tell him he's wrong.
Again.
You can't tell him he's wrong. Did you not hear him defend himself against Mr. Shannon Sharp when he was being tough?
But he's not wrong about quarterbacks at that.
Oh, he's right 90% of the time, you ask him.
So he's definitely wrong on
I wonder if one of the 90% or the 10% was when he was swearing up and down that Troy Aikman was gay. When he came out and he was saying that, in the 90s when Troy was at his peak.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that's what he counts as he's 90% right.
Yeah. I remember you said that that's what he was known
that's
for.
That's why Troy hates him.
Yeah. But nonetheless, Skip is wrong in this idea that... Because here's the truth of the matter. Like, if you guys do truly... If there's people out here that are watching the Cowboys and you truly believe that Cooper Rush is the starting quarterback, then why isn't he the starting quarterback? Like, because if we're being honest about it, if we've watched teams transition from one quarterback to another because the team has rallied behind a quarterback. We've watched in this situation, in the time that the Dak was out, he could have been rusty. And if Cooper has been playing and he hasn't had any time off, he should be well enough that it's like, no, you need to sit down, fella. This is my team now. Like, I've got us on a winning streak. I'm doing these good things with the team. I'm getting, we're sure he's not throwing the ball as much, but if he was actually the leader of the team, the leader of the offense, he would be starting. That's what the coaching staff is there to do. Like, they're there to get the best out of their team and get them to win.
All right. So, the Cowboys this year, behind Mr. Cooper Rush, right?
Yeah.
Put up 20 points against the Bengals.
Okay.
23 points against the Giants.
Okay.
They whooped the Commanders by 15 points, winning 25-10.
Okay.
They beat the Rams 22-10.
Okay.
And then they lost to the Eagles 26-17.
Okay.
Okay. Behind Dak Prescott, since he returned from his injury.
Uh-huh.
Cowboys beat the Lions by 18 points, 24-6.
Okay.
They beat the Bears by 20 points, 49-29.
Yeah.
They lose to the Packers 28-31.
Right.
And then they beat the Vikings by, I don't know, the biggest point difference in the history of the Dallas Cowboys on the road.
Yeah.
So since 1960, they have never whooped somebody this bad. They beat them by 37 points. 40-3.
Yeah.
That's what they've done with one Rain Dakota Prescott.
Right.
Put up 24, 49, 28, and 40 points.
Right.
The most that they put up this season with Cooper Rush was 25 points.
Right.
The biggest win difference was by 15 points, which for those of you who don't know, that's only 2 touchdowns.
Right.
In his first game back against Detroit, and somebody's going to say, yeah, but the defense matters on that. Yeah, it does. It does. But when the defense only gives up 10 points in 2 of those games back-to-back, like they did with Washington and the Rams.
Right.
and you only win by 15 and 12 points, that means that the offense wasn't doing much.
Right.
It did enough, but it wasn't doing much.
Right.
When you score 24 points, 49 points, 28 points, and 40 points,
Right.
it's a big difference.
A huge difference.
And that allows the defense to be even better.
Yeah.
Because the defense now doesn't feel like, oh shit, we have to stay out here and hold this down.
Right.
That's why even though the defense gave up 29 points against the Bears,
Yeah.
that 29 points don't really matter. Because
Right.
you won by 20 points.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing that I find dumbfounding, like it's mind numbing, is I see not just Skip, but I hear a lot of Cowboys so-called fans that they will ridicule them for winning, but not winning how they want them to win. Well, they need to be throwing the ball more to win, okay? But did they win though? Like, well, yeah, but they didn't throw it to anybody. Okay, fine.
But they didn't win the way I wanted them to win.
That's exactly what I see. Like, well, we're paying the quarterback all this money. He should be throwing the ball. Okay, so he starts throwing the ball. Well, now why aren't we running the ball?
We pay the running back so much. Why don't we run it?
Yeah. So it's stupid. Me personally, I am of balance when it comes to anything. I don't want you to be overly one way or the other. I know if you are, that's fine if you know how to work it. But I want it to always to appear that I'm balanced, so that way you never feel like, oh, I could do one thing over the other.
Much of the criticism against Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman, the triplets from the 3-time Super Bowl winning Dallas Cowboys of the 90s, right?
Yeah.
For Michael Irvin, the criticism was, well, he didn't score very many touchdowns.
Yeah.
A criticism against Emmitt Smith was, yeah, I know he has the most rushing touchdowns of all time, but it's just because they gave him the ball at the one. Oh, because other teams don't do that shit. They ain't got nothing to do it.
Well,
and then when
Seahawks don't.
And then when you look at what Michael did, no one says, yeah, you know, if he wasn't playing with Emmitt, he would have had a few more of those touchdowns because the team would have thrown it to him.
Right.
They don't put that together.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, he's not one of the greatest because he didn't have the many touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then Emmitt, I don't care that he had that many touchdowns. It's only because they gave it to him. Yeah. Because no other team has ever tried giving it to a freaking running back at the one.
I mean,
right? Like that kind of how it goes? No one else.
He only got it because he was on the team. If he was never on the team, he would have never gotten it.
I swear, it's always one excuse after another as to why.
Yeah.
And it's always one more stupid excuse than another stupid excuse.
Yeah.
Look, the Cowboys got the Giants this Thursday.
Yeah.
In Dallas, obviously, because they're hosting Thanksgiving football.
Right.
Luckily, next week they don't have a game on Thursday like they've been doing to them the last few years.
Yeah.
They actually give them the 10 days so they can rest a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys got the Giants. I think the Cowboys are going to dog walk them. I think they're going to whoop them. And you haven't been hearing me make any predictions really this year except for what I thought the record was going to be and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm saying this because honestly, Skip was saying that Dak is only doing good because he's having to show up.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush. Well, if Cooper Rush and the Cowboys won 23-16.
Yeah.
I mean, look for another 40, 50 points.
You know, I think I did
the
see
Giants.
a clip. I could be wrong. They were comparing Elliott to Saquon, and they were saying how Saquon all day, and
Saquon wishes he had Zeke's career.
I don't get me wrong. Saquon came in on fire. He was on fire when he came in.
Yeah.
And he's a okay running back. Like
when he's on, he's damn good.
yeah, if he can stay healthy, I'm not mad at him.
No, wait. You mean now they got to stay healthy too?
Yeah.
That's some bullshit, Johnny.
Yeah,
You can't. No, because next thing you know, you're gonna be saying Christian McCaffrey ain't any good because he can't stay healthy. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I've already voiced my opinion on the Christian McCaffrey situation, but yeah. So I mean,
that's not fair. You can't hold that against them.
Yeah, I know. I don't get paid for not going to work. If I take a sick day, I don't
gotta talk about them like if they were healthy and if everything was perfect, and you gotta give them credit for that. No, we can't do that with Zeke.
Yeah,
but for everybody else, we got to.
Yeah. So
that's kind of how they talk, right?
Exactly how they talk. So with that being said, guys, like I'm expecting Cowboys to win on this, which will be great morale for everyone that likes to watch them on Thanksgiving and seeing them win. But in past, I'd be a little bit more concerned. I often feel like it's hard to beat your rivals more than once in a season.
Yeah, and it's reality. Usually you're going to look for a split. I think with as much as Dallas dominated the NFC East last year, like whooping, I think they won four or five of their games by.
That's funny. Like I forgot about that.
By over 40 points.
Last year, all the jokes about the NFL least.
Yeah.
They called the NFC East the least. And that's, the Cowboys are, they're doing good in the least because everyone's so bad. This year, everyone is so good. It's a tough division. We don't know who's going to come out on top. The Eagles are doing really well. Cowboys, the Giants, the Commanders, like they're all still.
Oh, no. Remember, earlier in the year, everyone was talking about how the Commanders suck anyway, so that win don't really count because they suck.
Yeah.
Well, the Commanders are sitting here at 6-4.
Right.
And or is it 6-4, 5-5?
No,
they got 6-5.
Yeah.
They got a 6-5 record. Their bye doesn't come till week 14. They're sitting here at 6-5.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know what? They're a good team. But when the Cowboys beat them, they're a garbage team. They're nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is the Commanders? Commanders beat Philly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, but they're actually a good team.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just kind of funny. Again, last year, everyone was like, oh, they're not that good. When they were setting records last year, the whole year, they were setting records
Offensive records were crazy.
This year, again, they're starting to set records again. They're starting to do things, and we still want to criticize them for what they could be doing better.
So, the Colts blew a game to the Eagles. Eagles came back, won 17-16.
Yeah.
And I bring them up because this week the Colts got Pittsburgh, which, has not been their best. They've been pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think they had a tough game this past week. Pittsburgh, they played decent, but then they ended up losing.
Yeah.
Colts got them, and then they got Dallas.
Yeah.
And I say that because Dallas obviously has the Giants.
Yeah.
Then they got the Colts.
Okay.
They got the Texans.
Yeah.
Who have 1 win this year. They got the Jags, who got 3 wins this year. Then they got the Eagles on Christmas Eve here in Dallas. They go to Tennessee on my birthday, December 29th.
Yeah.
And then they finish with the Commanders. I see these next 4 games as wins for Dallas. You got the Giants. I see it as a blowout. You got the Colts, who I think it'll be a good first half, and then the second half, Dallas will blow them out.
Yeah.
You got the Texans, who I think Dallas will blow them out. You got the Jags, who I think Cowboys, once again, will have a tough first half, and then second half blow them out.
Okay.
Then you got Philly, who I think Dallas is going to come out the gates and stomp them, just like they did last year.
Yeah.
And then people are going to say, well, look, I don't know, the quarterback was hurt. Yeah, but can you do it in the playoffs? It's a division rival.
It's the last game of the season?
No. There's 2 games after that.
There's still 2 games.
So people are going to have a lot of excuses as to why Dallas wins that.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to have to play the Titans in Tennessee.
Okay.
And I think that game might end up meaning more for Tennessee than it does for Dallas. And I can see a letdown.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep winning, right?
Yeah.
So either way, I think Dallas is going to finish, in my opinion, with 3 or 4 losses. That question mark is that Tennessee game.
Right.
So they're going to be 13-4 or 14-3.
Yeah.
But when I look at this, that's not going to shut up any of the critics.
No.
No matter what Dallas does, because as Dallas wins these next 4 games, and
They're going to say...
They're like, yeah, but look, who did they beat? They're garbage.
Yeah.
They're garbage.
Yeah. They're going to say, oh, the Colts with Saturday, who's never coached before.
And with that, the Colts just lost by 1 point to Philly.
Yeah.
And even if Dallas beats them by 30 points,
yeah,
that doesn't matter.
And then they're going to say the same thing with the Texans. Like, oh... The Texans, who have they beat? They have only got 1 game. That's a invalid win.
And then they'll say the same about the Jags.
Yeah.
And even if it is at Jacksonville. And I say all this to say, the Cowboys are in a very good spot. Depending on if the coaches F this up, and they very well could, because their offense coordinator is stupid and their head coach is stupid.
Yeah.
Cowboys should dog walk these next 4 teams with a couple of tough first halves.
Yeah.
But second half, they should just finish them off, right?
Yeah.
And then their last 3 games, they'll be a little bit tighter. You got the Philly, Titans, and Commanders. But that's what I see happening. Well, what are you thinking?
I think... You have a very good analysis of what'll probably happen. Honestly, you say that the which one did you say was going to be the tough one? The Titans. And I was sitting there thinking that because I know how any given Sunday happens, that I'm more concerned about possibly the Colts or even Houston. Houston being, they don't like the Cowboys because they're both Texas teams.
Oh, yeah. You want to...
So I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason, somehow they find a way to fucking rally and make it a fucking stupid game that pisses me off that it should not be that way.
I think that's what the Colts game's going to be.
And again, the Colts and
the Colts, Jeff Saturday is doing a damn good job for everyone out there who wants to pretend like coaching the NFL so damn hard.
Yeah.
So, look, no, I've not coached in the NFL, first and foremost. But the reality is coaching a lot of times comes down to people making it harder than what it seems.
Yeah.
Football is a simple sport. But you got to execute.
Yep.
But just like anything, have you ever worked on a car, Cousin Johnny?
Yeah.
Does that make you a mechanic?
No, sir.
No, but it does mean that you can do some things, right?
Yep.
So if you needed to fix some brakes, you could do that.
Yeah.
You needed to change the oil, you could do that.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you want to.
Right.
But the reality is, you know how to.
Yeah.
Football is simple. Sometimes we make it more complicated than what it needs to be.
Right.
And sometimes people want to watch it and decide, oh, because they're on there, they have to be better than me. And it's not necessarily a fact,
Right.
Those coaches, a lot of times, some of them are way smarter than you in that sport. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's just because their uncle was somebody's friend.
Right.
Reality is, life is still about who you know more than what it is what you know.
Right.
And not to say a lot of those guys don't know stuff, because a lot of them do. But not all of them do. Some of them had no business being there because they don't know how to lead for shit.
Right.
And a head coach shouldn't necessarily be the coordinator.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people get it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and as the head coach, you should know how to, your thing is to step in. You step in when you're needed to. Coordinator yeah, they can call a play, but if you, as the coach, think like, no, we're not running the ball, we're gonna throw the ball because they're stopping the run.
You tell them what to do.
Yeah.
You need to know everything that they're doing, what they call.
Yeah.
Trust that they're calling the right stuff, but when they're not, you need to step in and say, no, we're doing this.
Yeah.
We're doing that. That's what a head coach should do.
Yeah.
When you don't operate like that, you're asking to fail. So, speaking of failures, Patrick Mahomes is a huge failure.
Yeah. You're telling me this guy only been in the league 6 years and
How come he doesn't have as many championships as Brady? I mean, he's been in the league 6 years.
Yeah.
Brady has 7 championships. Come on.
Right. Exactly. If you guys don't know, that's sarcasm between the both of us, guys.
Lord, people are stupid.
As I've said, Mahomes, best quarterback in the league, proves it.
But Brady's won 7 titles.
Yeah, he did. It only took him 20 years to get there.
But that's not fair. You can't hold that against him.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you know, he deflated footballs and got in trouble for it, and his coach cheated and stuff. But
Yeah. And he had Gronkowski, so you know that Gronk is a better tight end than Kelsey, so that too.
But Gronk was hurt.
Yeah.
But you can't hold that against him.
All that to being said, guys, like Patrick Mahomes, his coach is proving to be one of the best coaches in the history of the game by keeping his team relevant, competitive.
You say that, and I hadn't put thought to it, but you realize when he was coaching Philadelphia, they went to the NFC Championship 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
And made it to the Super Bowl. Should have beaten Brady.
Yeah.
If their quarterback didn't mess up.
Yeah.
You say that he's proving to be that right there, what you just said. 8 years he's been to the conference championship.
I mean, he's no Jeff Fisher, but yeah, I
mean, and keeping your team at the top with a chance to get to the title.
Yeah,
that's just sick. I hadn't put that thought. Good call. F you.
Kelsey, there's a clip I seen of him recently said that he was like, man, I was gonna go to the Jets, and I was pissed because I didn't want to go to the Jets. He was like, because I forget what team was supposed to. One team was supposed to get him. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go here unless Geno Smith's available. Then we're gonna go for Geno. And then he's like, fuck, I'm going to the Jets. I don't want to go to the Jets. He's like, then my agent calls me and says, hey, someone from Missouri is going to call you. You need to answer the call, whatever. And he's thinking, fuck, Jeff Fisher. Like, I don't want to go to the Rams. He was like, and then he said it was Coach, what's his name? Kansas City coach. I can't think of his name at the moment. But it's him on the phone. He was like, hey, you going to fuck this up? He was like, no, coach, I'm not going to fuck it up. He was like, let me talk to your brother. He's like, your brother going to fuck this up? He was like, no, coach, he's not going to fuck it up. He was like, all right. And he's like, and so he wound up, he's like, I had no idea I was even on Kansas City's board. And it was like, whatever, they came and got me or whatever. And I just thought it was a funny story because that sounds like some shit you would do as a coach. Like, hey, if I draft you, you're going to fuck up because I don't want you if you're going to be a fuck up. Let me talk to your dad. I want to know.
That sounds exactly like some shit I would say.
But that also being, again, I'm from St. Louis, and they know, like, I could only imagine if I was, like, on the board to being drafted, and then, like, fuck, you mean to tell me I'm going to go, like, if I was going to
go to Cincy?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go to the fucking Browns. Like, fuck you. Of course you're going to go because it's money and it's what you've been playing to do. But that is not the team I fucking want to go to. Like, oh, man, I could only imagine. I never even thought about it, like, from that aspect of, like, the players that, like, you have an idea of who's wants you, but then there might be another team that just kind of comes in and like, oh, nope, I didn't say anything, but that's who I was going to. You left them on the board. I seen it there. So, but yeah. Kansas City, they are the real deal. I mean, I don't know why you would question it. It's been every bit of, even though Mahomes has only been the quarterback for the last 5 years, for 6 years they've been the real deal. They've been playing
7,
really
8
good.
years since Andy Reid got there. They've been legitimate contenders. They've been in the playoffs. They were led with Alex Smith for a few years, and then even still, they had the wherewithal to say, "Look, this kid that we have, this Mahomes kid, is going to be a stud.
Yeah.
But let's let him sit because, quite frankly, Alex Smith hasn't lost this.
Yeah,
He didn't lose his job.
That's what I'm saying. Like they've been competitive like for the 6 years, 7 years, whatever. And really, my only critique that I could say about the team, if you want to talk about the team overall, is, and this is in every team. Sometimes your offense is better than your defense. Your defense is better than your offense. And early on, the defense was a really good defense. Right now, we're seeing a really good offense with the okay defense, which is fine. They're still pulling off these wins. Hopefully, they can get a better balance over time with
I don't
their
believe
defense.
what you're saying.
But I do know that that's a critique about the team, is that they have to score high. But if your quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, he's not getting hit a lot. He's running on he's doing things to be a fucking good quarterback. Like, there's some things that you just watch, you're like, man, that's really good. Like, that's a really good quarterback. He's on the run, getting good throws. He can run the ball a little bit to prolong it, whatever the case is. He's the real deal, and I can't believe that there's anyone that would even question if he's even the real deal.
Look, here's the thing. I was pissed off at the beginning of the year when people said that Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the league, or what more people were saying is that Josh Allen's actually the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I hated that. And then when Josh Allen's team ended up beating Patrick Mahomes' team earlier this year, people really ran with that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. Josh Allen's stats, like I've been freaking saying all season long, are just beneath Dak Prescott's.
But Cooper Rush is better than
Now, if Josh Allen's stats are just beneath Dak Prescott's, and Dak Prescott isn't in Mahomes' league,
right.
how the fuck is Josh Allen better than Patrick Mahomes?
Well, you remember that math that your son was telling you about?
Look, here's the bottom line. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. There's not another quarterback on his level right now. Earlier in the year, before the debacle of Green Bay, it was Patrick Mahomes and it was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Period. Right?
Yeah.
That was it. It was them two, and then we can start talking about everybody else in the order. Since the decline of the Green Bay Packers and the hand injury of Aaron Rodgers, you can take Aaron Rodgers out that equation.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else.
Yeah. I will say, in my fantasy league, I feel like I have a cheat code because I have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Like, I feel like it's almost unfair because of that. But at the same time, it's the luck of it's the draft. Like, I kept Mahomes from the year before, but the fact that I was able to get Travis Kelce, and Kelce and him have been showing to be like the best duo in the league right now, like, it's saved my ass so much in this. But
you say that, and you're right. And in that same fantasy league, because I know everyone wants to know about what's happening.
Yeah.
I still scored more than you this week, punk.
Did you?
Yeah. My team put up 322 points. Your team put up 300. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I've been doing that all year.
No.
But I'm saying this week.
I'm on a 10-win streak.
I had
I just beat the guy that
two
beat
receivers put up 46 points. Kittle put up 35.8. So that's really it.
Yeah.
But anyways, look, when we're talking about this Mahomes thing, what does this stem from? What was the argument being made?
First things first, they were saying that Mahomes, where he is in his career, is not where Brady was in his career at this same time.
So I think,
And they're saying that he's not like, because the argument was that Mahomes is being the best quarterback in the league, and they're trying to argue like, well, as you said, Josh Allen beat him, so how can he be the best one in the league? And then they were trying to say like, well, Brady, and by the time he was here, he had already had 3 Super Bowls. So and I can't remember the guy's name, Nick whatever, said the Super Bowl wins will come. Like, he's got the best team in the league right now. He's not. There's no reason for it. He'll be in the Super Bowl this year. He's standing on that. And I mean, I can't disagree with.
Look, here's the thing. I know part of that debate, part of that discussion was, is Patrick?
You're gonna bring up the Troy thing, aren't you?
Of course I am. Is Patrick Mahomes on trajectory with the best start of a career? And then part of that was, Brady had a better start than him.
Right.
Look, Brady has been in the league for, 40, 50 years? Something like that. And and he's been playing a long time, right?
Yeah.
And he went a decade straight without winning any championships, and then he started winning some more. And it was funny because his best quarterback play was during that decade where he didn't win any championships. Yeah. That's where he was at his best.
Right.
He won 3 championships before he was good.
Yeah.
Because his team was freaking great.
Right. And his coach was cheating. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes, he's been to 4 AFC championships. Yep.
In 4 seasons or something.
Yep.
And this season,
right now, he's probably going to be there again.
He's standing atop the AFC again.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that he just needs to win 1 game in the playoffs to return to the AFC Championship.
Right.
And I think he's hosted every year.
Yes.
Twice he won those games, went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
1 time he lost the Super Bowl, 1 time he won.
Yep.
So he's 2-2 in AFC Championships.
Yep.
This year he's standing atop the AFC.
Yep.
So has his career started off fantastic? Yes.
Yep.
Has it started off as far as statistically better than anybody else's? Yes.
Yeah.
Part of that is because the throwing era that we're in, right?
Yep.
Now, has he had as much success as somebody else?
Depending on who.
I'm going to tell you one person he hasn't had more success than.
Who's that?
That is somebody that goes by the name of...
I mentioned his name a second ago, if you rewind, if you don't know.
I think he goes by the name of Troy freaking Aikman.
Troy McClure.
Yep, Troy freaking Aikman. Also known to many as Troy McClure. But look, so Troy Aikman, and I say this because through his first 6 seasons, he had 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 NFC Championship visits.
Yep,
so if you're just looking at wins, you're going to say that he's had more. But Mahomes can tie him right now.
Right.
If Kansas City does what you're hoping they do,
yeah,
he'll tie Troy Aikman.
Right.
And then he will have had more success than any other quarterback in their first 6 years, including Brady, because Brady wasn't good yet.
Right.
So when you mix individual success with team success, he will have been better. Right now, and I hate saying this, but Patrick Mahomes may be the best quarterback I've ever seen play the sport. I don't actually think I would like him as a person. His girlfriend's whiny. His brother's whiny.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would like him because of that. I don't know that I wouldn't like him. I don't know the man.
Right.
I mean, I might get along famously with him. But at the same time, I don't care because quite frankly, he seems to be possibly the best quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah. There was I don't remember what game I was watching, but I think I had that moment cross my mind, like, he very well may be the best that I've ever seen.
And look, I saw Dan Marino play.
Yeah.
I saw Troy Aikman play.
I find this is funny that, like, in a sport where we'll argue over, like, what qualifies them to be great? And they'll say, well, the Super Bowl, like the Super Bowl, how many Super Bowls? But then we like that nullifies like Dan Marino, which is arguably one of the best. Never made it to the Super Bowl.
No, he made it to one.
Did he make it to
He
one?
made it to one.
Well, I know he didn't win one.
It was like his second year or something.
Yeah. But that being said, like he doesn't have his win. He doesn't have a ring. And people will be like, well, he never got over that hump.
Yeah, look, Warren Moon, Dan Marino. These are people I saw play.
Right.
San Francisco quarterback, not just Steve Young. What's the other one? Best of all time. Until Patrick Mahomes was born. Stupid Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know.
Won 4 championships with them in the 80s. Joe Montana.
Yeah.
So you got them. I saw them play.
Yeah.
I saw Roger Staubach play, not live, but when NFL films used to play the Cowboy games, I used to watch all of those.
You know what's funny? Like, I was just thinking about this. I heard somebody tell me one time about, like, boxers. Like, oh, but who did they fight? Like, they talk about, like, Tyson. Like, Tyson was known for knocking people out, right? But they're like, but who did he fight that was, like, who were the giants that he fought? Because, like, when you look at, like, Ali fought some giants.
Yeah. Frazier.
And I was like, I hear that argument, but my argument to that was, like, but he was still knocking out professional fighters very, very fast. Like, it wasn't like he was going the distance and having to, like, he was knocking most of them.
He ended people's careers as far as when he was fighting people, they were 19-0 like he was.
Right.
They were...
He made them find another career. Like, that guy hit me so hard, I don't want that shit no more.
So anytime people argue that, they're failing to recognize the reason those guys weren't great is because they came up against him and he said, night.
Yeah.
So fast that there wasn't we'll have a rematch and then build this guy's career.
Yeah.
You didn't have him going 15 rounds with Joe Frazier.
Yeah.
Why? Because Joe Frazier stood in there and got knocked out in the first round. And bye-bye, Joe Frazier. Now, everyone who's about to say, he never fought Joe Frazier, stupid. I'm saying the next guy who would have been Joe Frazier got knocked out by Mike Tyson.
Yeah, my point to that is, like, well, they said the same thing about Canelo. Like, oh, Canelo has, like, I don't know, he's up to 50 fights now, right? But they say often, like, those first 30 fights were like, who did he fight? Nobody's. The point is that they were somebody. They just didn't have the career. And some of them are still fighting. They just haven't gotten their name to that point. Holyfield, was one of those fighters for Tyson. He seen him before they were actually pro. Didn't see him again till they were pro. They wound up actually fighting whenever they were pro later in their career. That being said, we look at these quarterbacks. Well, in the league today, they don't have, a few years ago, it was all about Breeze. It was all about Manning. It was all about Aaron Rodgers. It was all about these. And I said, I don't know if it was this year or last year, I said we were seeing the changing of the quarterbacks. Who's going to be the next ones we'll be talking about for the next few years? Well, welcome Patrick Mahomes. He's the new standard. People that are going to be talking about him. Brady is still here, but Brady's on his way out. We're not going to be talking about Brady 5 years from now, other than what he used to do whenever he played.
And Rodgers, same thing. They're the only 2 quarterbacks from the past era that are still here.
Right.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
right there, but he may be on his way out too.
Yeah, Russell's probably where Drew Brees was whenever. Like, yeah, he's on his way out. Like, he's maybe he gets another 5 years compared to everyone else, but
you got those 3 guys. You got Brady, who may retire tomorrow.
You got Aaron Rodgers, who may have retired while we were talking on the podcast.
Yeah, his shroom trips might have just taken the toll on. No, I really think it's just his injured hand, really.
Yeah.
That mixed with his receivers not being able to catch. But anyways, with that, you got Patrick Mahomes 6 year in.
Yeah.
And his second year, he was the best quarterback in the NFL.
And it never even
and
crossed
his second year was his first year freaking starting.
I will say, it never even crossed my mind, but barring that he wants to continue to play another 10 years.
Yeah, if he retires early outside of that.
Yeah. Like, because in my mind, I automatically think, like, he's so good, he's going to put the 20 years in. But you made a very valid point. He very well may finish this contract say, you know what? I did what I needed to do. I made it to two Super Bowls, maybe three after this year. I made it to 3 Super Bowls, got 2 Super Bowl rings. I have nothing else to prove. I've done everything that I needed to prove. I've gotten the money that I need to. I'm still young enough. I'm going to go off, be a spectator, do whatever the fuck he decides he wants to do with the rest of his life. Maybe he decides to go at baseball after this. I don't know. But he's still at that point where he could fucking do it.
Patrick Mahomes is... Look, man. Let's say that he retires in 3 years.
Yeah.
Even if he don't do anything else in the postseason,
Yeah.
but get a couple wins here and there, never
Yeah.
makes it back to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
he may have been the best quarterback we ever saw.
Isn't that fucked up? Like, just to think about, like, oh shit. Like, because even if you say, okay, he did
I love
10
Troy
year,
Aikman.
Yeah.
I love Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman through this amount of time is more accomplished than Patrick.
Yeah.
Team wise.
Yeah.
And I'll put that on against anybody through this time.
The fucked up thing is he could
Reality
very well.
is,
Here's oh man.
I know how Troy Aikman's career ended.
Yeah.
I don't know how Patrick's career is going to end, but even just with what he has,
Yeah.
shit, man. How many championships does that bad man have?
Right. This
There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
When Dan Marino came in his second year, gets to the Super Bowl, which you didn't even know that he did,
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah.
Like, you come in early and do that,
So
it can be forgotten.
Here's the thing, and here's why
And Patrick's just that damn cold.
I'm on this high horse. In this time, we've seen his offense change quite a bit. He had Kareem Hunt when he first came in.
Legit running back.
No longer there. They're like, well, he's not gonna have him anymore. Sammy Watkins, when he first came in, he was returning kicks. He was getting the ball a lot, and he's no longer there. Then it was Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's no longer there. They've been sitting here saying that every time one of these key players is gone, that he's just, well, let's see how he's going to do because he doesn't have this to fall back on. And you know what's been consistent besides his coach? Is him being the quarterback.
Him and Bieniemy being his offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Those three guys. But look, you want to know what's really stupid?
What's that?
All right, so you know who Patrick Mahomes is, right?
Yes.
He's a pretty good player, right?
Yeah.
All right. Just imagine, if you will. We were talking about Zeke going there, right?
Yeah.
And how sick that would be.
Yeah.
I'll be dead honest with you. Because Patrick Mahomes is very good at the quick strike movement,
Yeah.
Pollard there would be just as deadly. Pollard would have a very good career there because they're not going to give him the ball 30 times there.
Yeah.
So he's going to get the ball 10, 12 times like he does here with Dallas.
Yeah.
But their OC's better at putting players in the right position.
Yeah.
And their running game isn't predicated on the fact that we need you every week to be
run.
successful.
Yeah.
So being all or nothing is okay.
And Pollard have been a former receiver.
Yeah,
With him being
that's
there,
my point.
that would, he'd probably fucking ball the fuck out.
Yeah, because
He actually probably would do better there than Zeke would.
yeah, because Westbrook, the running back that played for Philly.
Yeah.
Andy Reid was his coach. Was fucking really good at getting him the ball.
I fucking hated Westbrook.
Exactly. So he could do the same with Pollard.
Yeah.
And Pollard would be explosive because he doesn't have the wear and tear on his body over this time. So either way, whether Dallas doesn't re-sign Pollard and he goes to Kansas City, or they say bye-bye to Zeke and he goes to Kansas City, the career trajectory of Patrick Mahomes could very well be tied to one of our two running backs. And I'll still maintain what I say. Zeke is better than Pollard, but the success for either one of them is going to be great there.
I wanted to point out, you were talking about how if he retires in 3 years, say he goes to Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
Now we're off 3 more seasons after. We're gonna go 3 more seasons. He could go to another Super Bowl in that time, win, and then in your whole love for Troy, he's won 3 Super Bowls, 4 appearances, and retired.
And the only thing I'd have to say, Aikman was 3-0. I pull that same bullshit everyone does for Jordan versus LeBron.
Yeah.
But no, reality is Patrick
Yeah.
may be the best quarterback we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I pretty much reserve that for 2 more years. Give him
Yeah.
8 years in the league,
Yeah.
and then I'll say it. Like,
I mean,
otherwise, I'll say that he was for a short time.
yeah, I mean, in this day, that's usually what happens because a lot of people start out, as we said, sometimes you just start out in a good situation, and then it fizzles out because maybe the coach isn't there, maybe because
Any number of factors.
Yeah.
You can't project wins.
Yeah.
But I'll be dead honest. He's cold.
As
Josh
far
Allen
as,
ain't in his league. And I can say that because Josh Allen is in the league with Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott, I love the fella,
yeah,
but he's not in Patrick Mahomes' league. That
Yeah.
said,
yeah,
if they faced each other, could Dak beat Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Hell yes. It's football. They're
Yeah.
not playing against each other.
yeah,
This is their team versus one another.
right,
Patrick Mahomes has to go up against Diggs.
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes has to get away from Micah Parsons and D. Law.
yeah,
He ain't got to go against Dak and
right.
outrun him, out
Yeah.
juke him.
You know, that reminds me. I seen this clip from a few weeks ago before Green Bay completely washed themselves out, but they were talking about how they talked to Aaron Rodgers. It's like, I said, I don't want to out anybody. I'm not going to say what he said on there because I was asking him what the problem was. Why wasn't he throwing the ball? And the other guy says, I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. If I could throw the ball to myself, I would. My receivers aren't catching the ball. And I was just like, I don't doubt that that's probably how he felt at that time. This is before, now he's kind of got a little bit of a rhythm with Christian Watson.
Yeah.
But, and that was a speculation that he was going to have that anyways. That was coming into the season. They were expecting him and Christian Watson were going.
Well, that
going
was
to
the
be,
hope that they would gel and
Yeah.
and somebody threw something out that made a lot of sense to me, which I hadn't thought about. You know how this offseason he stayed away from the team,
Yeah.
with his little retreats.
Yeah.
I don't pay that much attention to them in the offseason,
Yeah.
so I didn't put any thought to it. That makes total sense.
I think he needs,
He
needs to get back with him and Olivia Munn need to get back together and figure his shit out.
I like Olivia. I don't know her, but I like her. I don't like him. But in the off season, the best quarterbacks build their rapport
Yeah.
with their receivers,
Yeah.
and if he ain't doing that, that does fall on him.
You know what's funny is, I know we're trying to wrap up, but that they criticize him. Well, they don't give him the same criticism as they give Russell. They're saying, they're making fun of him for not getting the ball to his receivers, but they're just saying how Russell just is playing horrible and that he's just not getting it done and he's just whatever. But for him, they're like, oh, he's on his ayahuasca and he's taking his shrooms and he's doing this and that. So they're giving him
A pass.
but Russell is like, oh, he's just not doing enough and whatever. And I don't know. I every game that I've watched, I don't know that it's his team or where it is, but I don't blame it.
Some people are going to say, well, look, Aaron Rodgers won MVP the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I got a quick question, though. Was Aaron Rodgers better than Patrick Mahomes last year or the year before?
No.
So, fuck the MVP.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say is Aaron is white and Russ is not. So whenever they look at it, I think that factors in.
I won't disagree with that.
All right, so gobble gobble.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. Until next time.
Oh, wait. Jake Paul, I'm waiting.
Yeah. Still haven't heard anything from the Paul brothers.
These are scaled.
Yeah. So if you guys know them, send them a text telling them that Coach Rudy's still calling them out.
I still accepted their challenge. It was their challenge. It was an open challenge. Anybody, any place, anytime. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm somebody.
Also, guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Please let your friends, family know about the podcast. It only helps us out. Follow Coach Rudy on Twitter
at RudyV1982, and for now, I am only on Twitter, but with the way that's going, we may need to switch. I may be joining Mastodon soon, but right now at Twitter or on Twitter at RudyV1982.
You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon at SleepyJ, SLEEP_E_J. On Mastodon, it's at Mastodon World, I think is what it is. I don't know. Find me on Mastodon. I'm on there a little bit. Still trying to figure out my way through it. Elon, Twitter, all that stuff. So until next time, enjoy your Thanksgiving with your friends and your family. If you want to stand in the corner saying how you don't celebrate this holiday, that's your choice too. I'm going to be eating turkey and a lot of other pies and things like that.
Yeah, I love food. I love football. That's Thanksgiving.
Until next time, take it easy.